Hello and welcome to the regular Tuesday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID, Tottenham Till I Die. Tonight we will discuss the Aston Villa game, and obviously we'll preview the game against Galatasaray this Thursday as well. So without further ado, I'll introduce you to the guests and then we'll see who we got in the chat, and Mark can go through the chat after I've introduced the guests. Right, so hello Phil, are you mate? A regular on the show, regular friend of the show?
Yeah, all good, Adrian. Good to be on the show with you guys, and looking forward to getting into all the topics.
And Brad, another friend of the show. How are you, Brad?
I'm good, apart from a bit of a sore throat, so I'll try and do my best to get through the show without coughing and dying on screen.
And co-founder Mark, how are you?
All is good, Adrian. All is good. The World War III still going on outside. There's fireworks everywhere, but
yeah, right. Okay, I'm fine as far as I know. Anyway, right. So anyway, we'll move on to the first point. We'll talk about Aston Villa. Phil, Spurs versus Aston Villa was the 9th time Spurs have been behind under Ange and won. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean that's a good sort of stat. Yeah, I think that's it. It says how resilient we are as a team. I've been talking a lot about mentality, and that sort of stat there says that we do have the mentality to come back, from behind against teams. So that's a good, it's a good plus for the team. But yeah, I still think we need to do better in our away games. That's one thing we need to do very, very quickly. And I said this on Sav's show the other night. I said that Galatasaray coming up is a massive game for me. I think if we get a result there, if we get a win there, that would give us so much confidence going forward in away games. A massive mentality shift for the team as well. Doing the world of good.
Yeah, Brad, Phil makes a good point, because talking about away games, because I didn't check this stat, but I'm willing to bet that they're all home games, these nine comebacks.
Well, we came... I'm under Ange. I was going to say we came back against Bournemouth, didn't we, a few years ago? But that was under Conte. Yeah, look. There's no denying that we need to improve, but I think this is an ongoing thing anyway. This is going to happen throughout this season, probably through next season. I thought the match against Villa, I thought that was our, considering the opponents and the sort of the way the game is, I think that was our best performance of the season. Because if you look at that game, we'd come off the back of a very hard game against Manchester City. And then we played this game from minute one. Villa were time wasting. They were getting everyone behind the ball, and then we go a goal down at half time, and then we managed to get the goal back. Absolutely brilliant ball from Sonny, and then and then Romero goes down. He comes off, so we're playing with without our two key centre backs, and for all this we got through against a team that have, I think, won their last 3 or 4 games at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We got through it all, and in the end, we won 4-1. If you look at our results in the league this season, especially at home, 4-1 against Everton, 3-1 against Brentford, 4-1 against West Ham, 4-1 against Villa. Okay, we lost against Arsenal, but I think, in all honesty, a draw would have been quite fair in that game. And I think that, for all the doom and gloom that we've been reading about and people on social media, I think we're doing all right. We're in the quarterfinals of the League Cup. We're, I think, 3 points from third position in the league. We're probably won our first 3 games in Europe. So, and some made the point.
Goal scorers in the league as well, Brad.
Exactly. We got the most goals in the league. There are only 3 teams that have conceded less than us. So I think I've seen progress. Yeah, we still have to work on our defence. Yes, we still have to work on corners, that sort of thing. But we've improved from last season, definitely. And the people that have a go at Tottenham, we can never win, because we beat Everton. Oh, that's Everton, they're rubbish. We beat Brentford. Oh yeah, Brentford aren't too good either. The real test to come at Old Trafford. We win at Old Trafford. Oh no, hang on, that's Man United. They're rubbish now. You know, and it's so we beat West Ham. Oh yeah, West Ham are pretty rubbish. So what are they going to say now against Villa?
Well, if we win the league, it was a poor league that season.
Man City, they played a week. Yeah, they played a weekend team, Man City. Well, actually, the average age of our team was younger than Man City's in that game. So
yeah, it's 24 something.
And now we go and beat a team that I think haven't lost one game all season or whatever it is. Yeah, I think they lost at home to Arsenal. That's it. A team that
they did have 7 first-team players in that game as well.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. So,
it wasn't a full Man City team.
You know, I say to these people, we're going to have bad games. This is how football works. I sort of more or less predicted the Palace game. This is how things work. It's how football works. But you've got to make sure you've got to enjoy the games that you win. You know, you've got to 4-1. I was ecstatic beating Villa 4-1. I don't like Villa, to be honest with you, but I was ecstatic beating them 4-1. So you don't look for excuses. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, that was in our favour. That was in our favour. Oh, they were rubbish or whatever. No, you play. You take each game and you enjoy the victory because you're damn know you're going to be sad when you lose a game. So enjoy the victories and stop trying to find reasons to say, oh, well, we're not as good as we think we are. So yeah, it's anyway. I've had my rant, but I thought
that's okay. No, that's what you're here for.
Considering the opposition and circumstances, I think that was our best performance of the season.
Mark Emery, last year, like the manager of Wolves, everybody's raving about how good these managers are. They're all tactical geniuses and things like that. But Ange certainly got one over Emery in this game, didn't he? Because he set up with that midfield, knowing that Villa of recent days, I don't know if it's when they're at home, they tend to go for a really dynamic midfield and not so much with wingers like we do. You know, the wingers they tend to have the extra man there and want to drive through midfield. But and a win like that, you can only say, well, yeah, he got it all right. You know what I mean?
No, well, yeah, exactly. Now, when we win, be happy. For goodness sakes, just be happy. You know, I mean, we all know the life of a Spurs fan is you're on top of the world one week, and the next week you want to jump off a bridge. You know, that's just the way it is. That is literally the life of a Tottenham fan. Over the moon 1 minute, suicidal the next. You know? So, you know, but to be honest, Ange did everything right Saturday. So there's certainly no complaints with me. Long may it continue.
And he's making tactical changes now. We're doing these little fixing games. You know, and apparently he's always tactically unaware, blah, blah, blah. But no, you know, and if you read anything, read anything about him or his teams that he's coached, the first season is all about basics, getting the basic philosophy right. And then the second season, things start to get moved around and tweaked, and that's how it goes. And you can see it happening at the moment where we've got a direction that we're going in. Now, okay, by the end of his third year, 4-year contract, maybe we won't achieve what we want to achieve. But hey, you know, let's give it a go and give it some decent time. See what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, he's relatively new to the Premier League, I would say as well. Yeah. You know, he's a year into the job, into the Premier League, and he's still trying to work these teams out. So, I mean, you know, a year and a half into the job, and we're questioning him. I think it's a bit premature in my opinion, but you know, I think he needs you know, at least the end of the season before I start questioning him. You know.
Well, I've been on this show digging him out. Well, I've been on it. Oh, he's ain't got a clue. But if he's learning and he proves me wrong,
I had him on my list. Yeah, go on, Mark. Carry on.
Yeah, I'll be the first one to come on here and say, look, he's learned. I got it wrong.
That's fair enough.
I most humbly apologise for digging him out and calling him useless.
Right, stay with you, Phil. Spurs have a level of performance in them to beat anyone after Man City and Villa, don't they?
I think this is true at home at the moment.
Fair enough.
I wouldn't say, because our away form is poor. We can't get away from that at the moment. But on our day, you know, at home, I don't really fear anyone. Maybe Real Madrid, or Barcelona, but in the Premier League, I don't fear any team at home. It's just our away form, but I think that will come in time. And I'll stress again, this Galatasaray result is so important for your team like us to get a positive result at a stadium, which is, the hostility and the atmosphere there will be immense, and it'll be experience for the team. And I think if we get a win there, it'll be massive for us in future away games this season to get better results away.
On this standout level of performance from the beginning of the season, apart from the absolutely shocking performance away at Coventry and the second half against Brighton, and there's only Brentford had more possession.
And Palace. Let's not forget Palace.
And Palace, yeah. Okay, and Palace, yeah, again.
Yeah.
Right. The other games, we played 15 games, I think it is. And the actual football deserved more points, in my opinion. It makes you wonder now, looking at the lead, if we had a couple more wins, we'd probably be top, It's crazy when you think about it.
But fine margins, with like Leicester. I can't remember the other games now.
Newcastle was away, which we
Newcastle was another one where we could have got something out of the game. Maybe a draw would have been fair against Newcastle, but we should have been beating Leicester in that first half. We should have put the game to bed.
Beating Newcastle as well.
Yeah,
maybe just edged it, but I think the draw probably would have been a fair result in my opinion. But yeah, Leicester should have been a win with that performance in the first half. But yeah, we should have at least 6 more points than what we should have. So.
I still believe that if Udogie had cleared that cross against Brighton, we'd have won that game.
Yeah, would have had an extra 3 points.
Yeah, I think we'd have won that game, but he miskicked it. They got the goal back within a few minutes of the game, second half.
That game was a perfect storm of errors, though, wasn't it, at the back?
Yeah, it was. We should have won that game. I don't think there's any.
Brighton and Leicester were pretty similar. We were 2-0 up in the first half. In Leicester, we had a good first half as well, but then we didn't learn from Leicester, and we went into the Brighton game in the back of our heads in that second half that this is going to happen again, and that's to do with mentality. With this group of players, there are a young bunch of there's a lot of young players in this team, but there are some senior players in this team that should have helped get us through them sort of games and get us over the line. So. Yeah, I mean, there's no excuses really. We should be picking up more points than that.
Yeah, the way I look at it is there's still frailties in the team. Especially the Newcastle game, the defending. That high line stuff. If you notice, we don't quite do that so much anymore. All right,
we're tweaking it, aren't we? I think.
Yeah. Yeah, which is good because that one ball down the side, like Newcastle did twice, or the one ball over the top, and we were done for. But especially, the last game, Romero wasn't on there. Van Ven's obviously injured. We had Dragusin and Davis, and so naturally they're going to sit deeper because Davis certainly hasn't got the pace. And to be honest, even though everyone says he's not really needed, but what a player! I've always defended Ben Davis.
Yeah, no, fair point.
You won the ball for the goal. You won the ball on the halfway line for the goal.
Yeah,
I was just coming to this. When he put that block in, if someone trying to run past him and he just blocked him, and the ball fell to him. If he'd got past him, there's no way Davis was catching him.
Yeah,
no way. He was through one.
Oh, didn't he? He laid it off.
Well, like about Ben Davis as well. When he's got the ball at the back, he always looks for a forward pass.
Yeah,
he always, and it's quick as well. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't dawdle on the ball. I mean, that's one thing that Romero is a pet hate of mine. With Romero, he holds onto the ball too long, and we need to quicken up the play. But But yeah, I mean, Ben Davies he's a steady Eddie for me. He's like a 6, 7 out of 10 every game.
It used to infuriate me. It used to infuriate me with Ben Davies that he was lumped in the same thing as
Dyer.
Dyer, Winks, all of them, and I was like, no. Ben Davies is always just 6 out of 10. He's never a 9, but he's never a 3 either.
Yeah.
You know, he's always that steady Eddie. He's like Mr. Reliable. He will come in. And let's face it, it's not for how many games he gets anymore. But when he comes in, he does his job. And that's
and that's not easy. That's not easy as well, Mark. You know, when he hasn't played for very long, you know, he comes in, does the job, and you know, fair play to him. Fair play.
You don't see him fluffing about and making mistakes.
Phil, standout performances versus Villa, and then I'll come to Brett.
Right.
Got to be Saar for me. Saar's he was a big player, but the standout actually is Solanke for me. He does so much for this team. The pressing, his first goal was quality, absolutely quality. Like that little dink over the keeper, and that'll do him the world of good. That will. Them 2 goals. Hopefully, he can go on and get a 20-goal season. That's what I'm after. But yeah, he brings not just his goals or assists. He brings the press, and he leads by example with the team from the front. So yeah, he's a massive player in this team for me. They're the 2 standouts, I would say.
Brad,
I'd go with that as well. I think the 2 S's, Saar and Solanke. Solanke, the effort he puts in is unbelievable. It's just such a shame that Richarlison's injured himself because you want to rest him, for some of these games and the effort he put. But I thought Bentancur had a good first half. I think the game was a bit of cameos as well. I was like Son. He didn't do a lot in the first half, but his first 10-15 minutes in the second half were immense. You know, that cross for that goal, he was just back to the old Son. And I thought Richarlison, when he came on for his 10-minute cameo, did pretty well as well. So it was. I don't think anyone had a poor game. You know, I think it's quite a good team effort. But Saar and Solanke, I think it's quite funny because the way that Ange seems to be doing it is, you'd imagine that you probably have to go back to the Kulusevski-Maddison partnership against Ipswich, because you'd like to think they're not so much of a threat attacking wise to us. So, but that's squad football. That's how it works. But I think they all had they all did their bits and pieces every now and again. Brendan Johnson did a few really good things. You know, it's just one of those games where you think that's a team effort. Maddison came on and that free kick. I was watching it. I'm just looking at it, and I don't like Aston Villa. I have to admit it. I do not like Aston Villa, and I thought,
Matty Cash. Yeah, that's why I don't like.
Please score, because I just want to look at the away end, see them all walking out, and that's exactly what it's just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. But I thought they all played their part in that game, definitely.
Mark, standout performances. Mark, standout performances for you?
It's easy, and Saar was man of the match, wasn't he? And it's nice to see Solanke score 2 goals. You know, because let's face it, he works tirelessly for the team. But we haven't been creating the chances for him, unfortunately. But you know, he showed right. The first one was lovely, where he just dinked it over the keeper. But let's face it, the second one, even I could have scored that. Not that I'd have had enough energy to run up. But like, if I was stood there anyway, you know, even I could have scored that. So, but you know, it's just nice to see him, because that's what strikers thrive on. Strikers thrive on goals. You know, if you're signed, especially if you're signed for like big money, like he was, and you're not scoring goals, it's going to sort of weigh on your mind. You think, hang on, I was brought in to be the goal scorer, and I haven't, I've only scored 1.
A funny. Oh, sorry. You go first, Adrian. I'll talk to you about.
Well, I just want to add to those 2. I agree, but I want to add Dragosin to the 2, because I just thought I just thought he was very good. What I want to see more from Dragusin. I mean, it's too early to judge him yet, but he's looking decent, very good in the air. With them and VDV, what I want to see them do is I want to see them and they always look to give the ball to Romero first because everything goes through him. When they get a bit more established in the team, well, VDV should be, you want them to be confident and move the ball themselves rather than having to keep relying on Romero all the time to progress the ball, And Romero's, I thought he's had 2 outstanding games as well, the last 2 games as well. I thought he's been really good. And he takes a lot of stick. But I get a different perception at the ground than people do, and you do, Brad, because we're watching it over you. So there are times when I think, he could have moved the ball a bit quicker, but there are times when there's no movement or no way to give someone a ball up front because there's no movement. So you can't just cane him, right, for that, right? If you can't see it, if you're watching on your TVs at home, we see it all. I'm always watching for patterns and players. So I'd throw Dragusin in the mix. But back to Solanke while we're talking about the players, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
All competitions, 5 goals, 2 assists in 13 games. His stats are starting to creep up now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Fans will say, who are them goals against? But for me, I don't care who he's scoring against as long as he's getting goals, and 2 assists. It's not bad. Yeah, seven goal contributions. Yeah, that's not bad for a striker. But we need more. We need more. But I just think his pressing is just as important as his goals as well. For me, Kane didn't do that when he was at the club. He didn't press like Solanke does. So he's totally different player to Kane, and he won't get his numbers as well. But as long as he can contribute to the team with 20 plus goals a season and maybe 10 assists, then I'll be happy with that. And his pressing is second to none. So I'm happy. I'm happy all round with him at the moment.
Yeah, well, me and Brad, we meet a couple of his mates that I've got to know, Stephen Martin. And before the game, I was smiling afterwards because they were saying, about time Solanke got a goal.
This is Steve's big bugbear at Solanke. He was never in the right place, never in the right place. And when I said about him scoring the 2 goals, he said, well, he was in the right place, wasn't he? Sort of thing. So, but fair enough. But the funny thing, there's 2 funny things that I think happened on Saturday. I think when Sonny came off, obviously he gives the armband to Romero. And then Romero did that absolutely scything tackle, brought this guy down, got the yellow card quite deservedly. And I thought to myself, right, the captain needs to have a word with him and say, calm down. And I thought, well, hang on a minute, he is the captain at the moment. So, but he got his injury.
First yellow card this season, though. And all
I know, but he injured his foot and he got taken off anyway. Now, anyone that doesn't go to the games, I don't know if you know, but the songs that the crowd sing about all the various players, what they do at the ground is they play the actual original songs before the game and that sort of thing. So it's quite good. And you sort of, that's the what's the name song. But we never really had a song for Solanke. But they come up with a new one on Saturday, and it was the Dom, and that wasn't that one. It was Dom Solanke, Dom. Now that is by a band called Pig Bag.
It is.
Yeah, at the end of the game, when they're all coming up and doing their lap of order, suddenly Pig Bag comes on through the speakers, the actual song. And I thought I could just imagine when they started singing that song, that the guy who gets on the radio, oh shit, we got to find Pig Bag, is it here, sort of thing. I mean, fair play to the person who did it, he found Pig Bag and it came on. So.
The song is Papa's got a brand new Pig Bag. The song is called Papa's Got a Brand New Pig Bag.
Yeah, buy a Pig Bag, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I just had this idea of this guy, we haven't heard this one before, and he's trying to go through his collection to see if he can find the song.
What a tune that is, by the way. It's a classic ska tune.
Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? Yeah, absolutely brilliant stuff.
With Romero, though, I'm not, he was having a bit of back and forth with Watkins that game. And I think he was getting his hair off like Romero was. I think he was getting back to his old ways in that game. And that's why he was flying into challenges, with Watkins as well. So I think he was having a bit of back and forth with Watkins, and that's why he got the yellow card for me. He lost his head.
I thought we bullied him. I thought that was all about press fever. We had the fever to press in that game. I've never seen us press so well in that game. And we were getting stuck in, and we forced so many errors out of them. Because they're a very good side, Villa, but at the back, they're a bit workmanlike. They're not like, we've got better quality on the ball and the fullbacks when both.
They're organised.
They're well organised, but they're not. They haven't got Romero, they haven't got a VDV, they haven't got a Udogie, they haven't, you know what I mean? They just haven't got that. We've got that bit of extra quality. I know our fullbacks are still, one of them still developing, right? But they haven't got that quality. And I just thought pressing them is what helped force them a lot more errors, because they couldn't get rid of them. See, when you're pressing someone that high, if they get lucky with a clearance, but you've got to get lucky because you should still outnumber their strikers anyway. This is why Romero and VDV mop up so easily most of the time, because you force the areas, you kick them long. So they're either kicking down the wings, trying in the channels, or straight down the middle to if they've got a centre forward, aren't they? And like City and all that, Man City, they mop all that up and they go again, they press them again if they ain't scored, and they do it again and again. And eventually the relentless pressure tells and they get a goal, And then if the other team have got to come out, that suits you even more because now you've got more space, you know what I mean? But
anyway,
you can all go wrong. Go on, Mark.
Just going back to this Solanke thing, right? He's got 5 goals and 2 assists, right? How many actual chances? That's good, seeing as we don't hardly create anything for him. Not really. You know what I mean? I mean, so Saturday was the first time where I've actually seen him scoring, him doing what we bought him to do, being that 6-yard area and just tap it home when someone crosses it.
Showed more composure than Sarah Charleston would to chip the keeper. I
Yeah.
like to see that composure in a striker. Because they may say you scored against Villa or they weren't good and all that, but if you can score goals like that, you're going to do just fine.
Because to be honest, right, because he's not really got that many. Well, what did he have before Saturday? 3. He had 3 goals in 12 games, right? That would have been quite easily for him to try and hit it along the ground and hit the keeper with it, because he must be desperate to score because we hardly ever create anything for him, and so to chip the keeper like that was outstanding. That is the sort of finish you see from someone who's scoring for fun. He's getting 1 or 2 every week, not someone who just turned up in the team. That takes some minerals to do that. I was going to say something else, but I say minerals. But it does.
I've never seen a striker that works so hard.
No. Christ, he never stops running, shutting down, pressing. He's a phenomenal athlete. Well, we just got to pray we can keep him healthy.
Also, fair play to the old school linesman who didn't flag him offside. Normally in those sort of situations they just put their flag up, but we knew
it's a brilliant ball.
Yeah,
brilliant ball by Kulu that was as well.
It was.
Really good pass.
It goes back. I know it was pretty tight, but when you actually looked at all right, they draw the silly little lines, and everyone knows I can't stand the lines, but when you watch it, when you actually look at him, he's level. In old fashioned days, he's level. And you give the benefit of the doubt to the attacking team. So it was good old-fashioned football. That the linesman didn't put his flag up. We got the goal. Although Villa did try to persuade VAR by actually getting the ball off the referee and taking it back, putting it in front into the penalty area for a free kick. So, which was
in all fairness, though, is that going to improve next season when they bring the automated stuff in?
I think it'll make it. Yeah, it'll make it.
No, it's coming in.
Yeah, a lot quicker.
Yeah, but will it though? But will it though with the incompetence that goes on?
Well, no, because it's automated. It's going to be automated. At the moment, you've got a bloke looking at it, and he sees the foot, and he says, "Okay, that's the ball's hit. I'm going to draw. That's it." And then he goes to where the players are, and he draws his little lines.
Yeah.
So it's all done by and
Didn't-
that's what it
Did
takes.
they use it in the tournament, in the international tournament?
World Cup, they did.
Yeah,
Well.
these are the World
Yeah,
Cup.
the World Cup, yeah.
And they give it, and then they give you like the picture as well, which is, I mean, you're still going to get the fingernail offsides and that sort of thing. But,
That's one thing I don't like. Is
no, I
when
don't
it's
either.
like half a boot or something, or a toenail or something. I mean, that's just silly.
Exactly.
Mm.
But I think, unfortunately, we're stuck with it at the moment. But that's why they take so long, because if it's that tight, they're saying this on. I was watching Ref Watch on Monday, and they were saying that this is why it takes so long, because if it's tight, the person that's doing that line drawing, he wants to be spot on. He wants to be as correct as possible, and that's why it takes the time. So,
Well, surely if it's that tight, then they should give the advantage to the
exactly, Mark. Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally agree with what we said all this time. If you
You know
can't
what I mean?
prove it's
If you got to
offside,
go down to like micrometers and all that sort of stuff, and is it really worth bothering with? Because
it is.
can you remember it was probably 20, 30 years ago when the offside, well, there was none of this VAR stuff that's in now, but the attacking team would always get the advantage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Score. And surely that's got to be the way. If it's coming down to like nanometers and and all that, then is it really worth bothering with? If like his toenail was
I
offside,
totally agree with you, Mark. It's like they're trying to find a reason to disallow
Yeah.
the goal.
it ruins the game, and then you get people stood around for 5 minutes.
And that's the thing. We all celebrated, but because you look at it and you look at it, it's tight. Linesman didn't get put his flag up, but you still know this will go to VAR.
And that's another thing that gets me is you pay your hard-earned money, and let's face it, it's not cheap to go to bloody Tottenham.
No.
There's two things with this, and you seem to think that they deliberately caught in
Pay all
controversy.
that money to go in, and they can't even keep you informed in the stadium.
Yeah.
No.
Well, they don't want to riot in a stadium. That's why they don't show you some things that are
I know more about it sat here at home watching it on my TV than you
I
do.
know. Yeah.
But they seem to be caught in controversy. And the other thing that I've always had a theory on, right? You're keeping the players, you're letting the players get cold if they're having to wait 3 or 4 minutes, right, for a decision to be made. And that can't be good.
No.
Right? They need to go and have a jog or something. Keep moving during these things. Keep moving and keep the core temperature up,
It's how long they put the flag up as well. How long they leave that. They let the flag go on so long. There could be a massive injury to one of the players because of that.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
I am waiting for that to happen. He was. You could see he was offside, and the linesman don't put his
I
flag up.
understand why they leave it.
And the keeper comes out, clatters the striker, breaks his leg or something. And it was like, well, if you put it up 10 seconds ago, that wouldn't have happened.
Exactly. Well, Van de Ven got his injury against Chelsea. It was argued last season, wasn't it? Because he had to run to make the tackle, and the linesman didn't put his flag up. So
Yeah. Villa didn't come to play in my mind. When I looked at them, when it wasn't going their way, they just couldn't cope with our pace, and the press. They just couldn't cope with it. But this guy,
I think they came for the draw from kickoff.
Yeah.
They just time
After we beat Man City during the week, I think that sent a message to them,
You know what? I think Emery tactically got it wrong. When went 1-0 up, all he should have done was just sit back and hold for the win.
Yeah.
But he kept attacking us, and that played in our hands in the end.
What about this guy, Phil? What do you think of him so far?
Yeah, we've had a small sample size. He's had two games on the trot now. I think that's done him the world of good playing to me. Say again.
He's a rising. Let's send him off in Europe.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I think he's a quality defender. I think he's an old-fashioned defender. Do you know what I mean? He's very physical. I don't think he's slow. I think he's got a bit of pace about him. But yeah, I think he's definitely an upgrade on Eric Dyer. So I think I've no worries about bringing him in when Romero or Van de Ven are absent. No worries at all. But for me, I think Ange has done this as well. When Dragusin and Davis are at the back, he has dropped that line at least 3 to 5 yards. To help out with their pace. So I think it's just all about adjusting with certain players that we have in the team, you know. But yeah, I've no qualms about Dragusin. I think he's a quality defender.
Just one thing on that. Do you think Ange does it, or they naturally do it themselves? Because I can imagine Davis looking behind him, seeing 40 yards, seeing 40 yards of grass behind him, and think, stuff that.
Well, I understand what you're saying.
There's no way I'm catching him.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying there, Mark. Definitely. I used to do that myself. I was a defender. I used to do that myself. Just give me a couple more yards to get get on the striker. But yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I think Ange has sort of he has sort of told them to drop that yardage, but as a player, it's sort of instinct. You do it yourself, don't you? But
yeah, of course it is. I mean, because let's face it, all the front players these days are quite quick, and you know it yourself. I won't spend Davis now. He's got to be 30 at least.
32, I think, isn't he?
31.
Yeah,
31.
Well, you know, if you're up against a quick winger, stroke forward player, you know that if you look behind you and you've got 40 yards of empty grass behind you, and you know that if he runs past you, nicks it round you, and he's away, you think, I'm not doing this. And so you're naturally going to drop that 5 yards, aren't you? Give yourself half
Davis, I think that's why he goes into tackles pretty quick, because he doesn't want to give him that yardage to that. He's pretty quick on the tackle.
Definitely.
But I think Dragusin,
Brad, isn't he? But he's not slow. He's not slow.
He's really not slow. And I think if you look at the Newcastle game, it's probably because he hadn't had a lot of games that we did concede that second goal, because they got it wrong, did they, with the line at that time, I think, from memory. But no, I think more games he plays, the better he's going to get. We saw him in the Euros. He was absolutely immense for Romania. And I think he's also good in the air. He's good at heading the ball, which we need, because I don't think Romero or Van der Ven are really, or Davis for that matter, are sort of actually noted for their heading ability.
I'm surprised with Van der Ven, because he's like a giant.
Exactly,
But odd, and he's very weak in the air, which amazes me.
Although, to be fair, Peter Crouch never released a jump, did he? Well, not that he really had to, but...
Well, he didn't need to.
But I think, Dragusin, I'm quite confident Dragusin and Davis, and that works pretty well, actually, with Dragusin on the right, Davis on the left.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're obviously going to be the Galatasaray centre-back pairing.
He's well educated, Davis, and now he's one of the 10 players that have been given, today it was announced he was given a PFA role with her.
Oh.
Yeah, he's given.
He's very intelligent, isn't he?
He's done his degrees, so you know he's going to be a coach or a manager in the future.
Yeah.
New Ryan Mason. The new Ryan Mason, that's what he's going to be.
Or an astrophysicist or something like that,
Well, we don't know about Ryan Mason until he goes out and tests himself. You don't know, do you? So same with Matty Wells, who's very highly rated there. But he's getting a role. Let's talk about these two. Brad, Sarr and Kulusevski, undroppable.
Well, no one's undroppable. I think Kulusevski's. I mean, he's been our best player this season. I think without a doubt. I think he. I don't want to big him up too much, because people will start getting on to, you can't say that. He could potentially be another what's his face, the guy at Man City. Oh, my memory's going.
Rodri.
No, they're midfielder.
De Bruyne.
He could well develop into that sort of player, because he's strong. He's got a lot of skill. He's got a lot of vision. He does a lot of running. I just think he's immense at the moment. And Sarr does the job that he's given. He gets the ball and he takes it forward. I mean, Sarr is sort of like, you could say, the next, I hate to say the word, but the next sort of Vieira type player, that sort of player. But the game against Ipswich Town, we don't need to be more defensive. And that's what I think has happened in the last two games, is that Postecoglou realises that Man City and Villa are going to have a fair bit of possession that we don't, that normally teams we play don't. And he's just made it a little bit more defensive in the midfield. So I don't think he has to do that against Ipswich. So you might see back to like the old Bentancur, Maddison, Kulusevski partnership, or even Sar, Madison, Kulusevski. But yeah, so no one's undroppable. But at the moment, they're both playing incredible. They're both, and that's what you need. You need players that can come in a game and do what they're doing. And Postecoglou seems to be getting it right this season. We've given them game time. He seems to be. Last season we couldn't do that because we weren't in the competitions. This season he seems to be doing it, and you'll see. You've got Bentancur and Basuma are like sort of swappable parts, really. And he seems to be doing that now. And I mean, we all know that the old master of rotating the squad was Alex Ferguson. So if he can be half as good as Alex Ferguson in his rotation, I think we're onto a good thing here.
And Phil and Sar shoots from outside the box.
He's done it a few times, hasn't he? He has done it a few times. So I'm not surprised with him taking shots outside the box because he's got that in his locker. But I think all our midfielders bring different attributes to the team. I think Sar brings that energy. He's just a road runner. He's always about pressing the midfielders. Kulusevski, for me, he's the one that brings the ball forward. He's so strong, brings others into play. He's got a golden assist in him. I think he is undroppable at the moment. I think Kulusevski, for me, is the best midfielder that we've got. I think he's the best player that we've got at this moment in time in form. For me, I think he's the first name on the team sheet. Bentancur, he's the only six that we've got in the team for me. With obviously Archie Gray, there's questions on him being the number 6. I'd like actually Archie Gray to come into each game and be in that number 6, and I think that's a perfect game for him to sort of put these questions to bed. But yeah, I mean, like Berg, well, he's another one I'd like to see in that game. My midfield three for that would be Bergvall, Gray, and Bentancur. Bentancur as a sort of a tutor to them two players, and who can help them throughout the game. But yeah, I think them two players, Sar and Kulusevski, for me, bring really good attributes to the team.
Brad, I think we were spoilt when Kulu came in January because he got 8 goals and assists in half a season. And the following season, last season, he admitted it won his best season by far. And the team was Andy's still trying to get his philosophy across to the players as well. And everyone wants to see him reproduce his debut season form, even though it was only half a season. So I'm sure the goals will come. He's got 2 and 5 assists, which is decent. I mean, he's so effective, though, isn't he, at finding a pass? And if he hasn't got the assist, he's give the ball to the assister. You know what I mean? Usually,
Well, his position in the team at the moment is what he's actually said himself is his best position. He's always said that. And I always felt when that season where he was absolutely brilliant on the right wing, there was always one problem in his game, was he was very one-footed. So he wasn't going to take the ball to the byline and cross it like your normal winger was. We don't really have touchline hugging wingers at the team that do that. But I think where he's playing at the moment, I think it works really, really well. I think he's really suited for that because he's when he's on the right wing, he's only going to cut inside. He's only going to go one way, and I think defenders will know that. Other teams will know that. But when he's going down the middle, he's got those 2 variations he can do. So, and he's very strong. He does a lot of running. And again, he's only, 23, 24, is he?
24 now.
24, right? And I just think he's been, like Phil was saying, he's been our best player this season by far.
I think Basuma's played well. I think Basuma's played well in the last couple of games. I think he's picked up a little bit. He frustrates the hell out of me sometimes because he's such a quality player on the ball, and he dictates play in midfield, and he's just. I think he's a quality midfielder, but he just doesn't do it on a consistent basis. And if we can find that, I think we've got a really good midfielder on our hands.
Or he might be the first one out the door January and the summer if he doesn't, because he's got a lot of competition now, and I think that's kicked him up the backside. So, Mark,
good competition.
Tell me about this guy, because I've warmed to him now.
No, here we are.
7 goal this season and joint best tops to stats with Solanke against Villa. He did I mean, everyone played well, as you've all alluded to, but like he did put in a shift against Villa. I mean, everyone did, but he did as well. You know, he's starting to show a bit more off when he's not scoring goals. He's showing there's a bit more to him now.
Yeah, no, see, no. If
he's first into the punch up as well.
No, if any of you watch Tottenham on tour, you know I created the JDL in their chat. I was the first one that came up with the Johnson Defence League, right? Because I will admit, at the start of the season, or maybe the end of last season, I was saying, look, he's not good enough. Get rid of him. But he's certainly stepping up now. But when we first signed him on Bobby K, the Free Spurs Boys, Bobby K show, I was on there all the time. Give him time. He's going to be a star. Give him time. And then I changed I'm a big flip-flop, really, to be honest. But now the man's on fire. He's doing his job. And, you know,
he's already got 2 more goals than he scored last season.
There we go. So, and he's, you're the man with all the stats. I'm not sure. He's only like early 20s, I believe. You know, so
23, nearly probably approaching 23.
Yeah, whatever we are, he's not in his prime yet. You know, so he's probably got at least 2 or 3 more seasons. You know,
I don't think a lot of supporters or the supporters that criticise him, I don't think they don't seem to want to give players time. To develop and get used to the team and that. And
a lot of it, though, a lot of that, see, is because we spent nearly 50 million on him. And when you're spending that sort of money, you expect someone to come in and just shirt. I mean, which is understandable, really. I mean, if you come in with that, it's not his fault that we paid for it.
Don't work like that, though. I know the price tag is a big price tag, but you know, put yourself in these players' shoes. You know, they're coming into a big club.
But
you know,
the thing is, people don't. I mean, if
he should be oven ready for that price, though. He should.
Of course. We're all the same. We're all the same. If Tottenham go and drop nearly 50 million on a player, you want them to come in, improve the first team immediately.
Hit the ground running.
Whoever was in their place, take their shirt immediately and say, right, I'm here now. You're out of it.
I mean, we know, don't we, that if it wasn't for all the injuries last season, we had 22 injuries last season, right? If it weren't for the injuries, he would have probably been drip-fed into the squad rather than played all the games. And fair play to Ainge, though, because, like, all right, I will criticise Ainge when I think he's got his game management wrong, right? But to give Johnson his debut away to Arsenal, we drew 2-2. It was a game we should have won, that game. And he did miss a couple of one sort of, there was 2 half chances he had in that game. Do you remember down on the penalty area down that end of that?
Yeah.
So he could have scored on his debut, which would have got him off and running a bit quicker. And he seems to have come through all the stick that he's received, which is wrong. It's just disgusting when people are just trolling the abuse they give people online.
Oh, but that's disgusting.
I don't go nowhere near that crap myself. I just duck away from it all.
You got to think like. Sorry, Mike. You got to think about. He come from Forest. He's playing a totally different way of playing at this club. It's totally different. You know, with Ange, you know, in his tactics. You know, the players have to adjust. They have to adjust, and you have to give them time. The only thing with Johnson, I mean, his numbers at the moment are good, but he does go missing in games. You know, even though he does get a goal and assist, he does like shy away sometimes from that. So like when he gets his goal, he's like, "Oh, that's enough." No, I want him to, you know, to kick on. I want him to, you know, he does go missing in certain games for me, and that's what he needs to improve on. He needs to be a bit more.
We always see him beat a man, don't we?
He needs to be a bit more ruthless. You know what I mean? A bit more confidence in him.
Yeah, well, a lot of the wing play now is about getting an overload, so you don't have to beat the man. You're just slipped in. You're slipped in with a pass, no risk of losing the ball. This is why we see all this horseshoe football all the time, robotic football, I call it, Brad. But yeah, we all want to see him go past the man.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I sit in row 14, sort of on the west stand, so I get a good view of our right wing attacking play in each game. And yeah, you do. When he gets the ball, and whether he's got the ability to do this or not, I don't know. I think he's quite pacey. He can run, and I'm always saying, take him on, but he doesn't seem to do it. I guess I think someone made the point the other day that he's not really a right winger. He's more of an inside right.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the reason. But yeah, I think 7th goal this season, and we all know he can get better. So
yeah,
I've always said he's not a winger. He's not a winger. He hasn't got that trick. He hasn't got that sort of step over. He'd kick it and run. Do you know what I mean? That's how he get past his man. But
more direct winger than a jinx.
He's very direct. Yeah.
Yeah. When we signed him, I think they said he can play down the flanks or centrally.
Yeah.
He played up front for Forest a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say I thought he played as striker for Forest a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of the time he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fairness to him, again, another thing on the TV for people that might be watching this later on playback or whatever, when we're at the ground, there'll be times when we've seen him, Brad, he's received the ball on the wing like that, but he's so far forward that he's got no one to give the ball to, even if he beats the guy with pace. So you have to take that into consideration when you're doing an overall, perspective of the player. I mean, because I think there was one game he received the ball. I think we won it. He's received the ball so many times and was forward, but there was just no one had caught up with the play. It's a bit like with Kulu. Kulu would tend what he'll do. He'll trap the ball. He'll hold it until someone comes. So he's got to give because he's brilliant at that.
Yeah.
Let's another guy. I'll look at the results. Go for the chat.
No. Yeah, I was going to say there's only 4 comments, Adrian.
Okay, fine. All right. Okay.
Right.
So I'm trying to work out this score from Peter here.
Yeah, I was going to say I couldn't work that out either. Celtic 1.
Celtic 1-1.
AC Milan 1. Milan, unless there's another Milan 2. 2 Real Madrid. I don't know.
Celtic 11. AC Milan 2. That sounds a hell of a
or there's both Milan.
No,
one's AC Milan and one's Inter Milan.
I don't know.
Peter, explain it. Got another post on Peter, mate.
Yeah. So that's what it could be. Celtic 1 AC Milan, and then Inter Milan 2 Real Madrid. That
could be that. I know we're all explaining. I'll just check my phone and see what the scores are.
Well, yeah, mine's over there.
Oh, wow.
Right,
hang on. 2 more comments.
Yeah, go on, do the comments.
Right.
Yeah, John Lee. Big up, John Lee. Big up.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Good evening, sir. And that's the last comment.
Yeah.
Well, it's Real Madrid 1, Milan 2.
Yeah.
At half time. Celtic 2, Leipzig 1.
Leipzig, right? Okay. Right. All right. Phil. Phil. Brad. You start with this one, right? Maddison, 3 goals, 3 assists in 10 Premier League games this season. We know when he scored the soft goal in that other game, didn't we? Like, they just keeper should have saved and all that. Like, bit of an enigma, isn't he, Maddison?
Yeah. It's funny because when we signed him, Gary Lineker, who's obviously would know a lot about Leicester, said, that's a bargain. You don't realise what a brilliant player you've got there. He's got, so much ability. And other Leicester fans were saying, no, he's overrated. So
David Clark won it.
It might have been David Clark. So I don't know. He's obviously got a lot of talent there. He's already got a way of he can pick a pass, that sort of thing. But the start we saw him get last season, where, to be fair, from my memory of last season, the first 10 games, Basuma and Maddison were irreplaceable in those early games. And we haven't seen that this season. He obviously had the injury last season. He's had games where he's played well, but I think people are saying, has Ange lost, has he lost him on this sort of thing? But I think it's been tactical the last 2 games, and I think he'll start against Ipswich. I mean, the Galatasaray game, that could be any team. That could we're talking about rotation there, but I think the Ipswich game, I think Maddison will start because as I said earlier, we don't need that to be that defensive in midfield. But I'd like to see him score more goals. When he played for Leicester, he always score goals against Tottenham. But maybe that free kick will give him confidence. I mean, that was just an amazing free kick, against the best goalkeeper in the world, apparently. But we need we need more from him this season, I think. But he's definitely got the ability, and I guess we just got to see what happens as we go on through the season. But he's certainly a player that we need in the squad. And it's a squad game now. People get rotated, so I think. Hopefully, we'll see the best of Maddison as we go on. And, players like Maddison are the sort of players that you'll think they're out of form, and then they'll suddenly crop up with an important goal in an important game. So, that's the sort of way it works. So,
yeah, and I think Phil, perhaps it's tactical. I see it's tactical. Like, I think if you're playing against low block teams, you can play Decky and Maddison together, can't you? You know what I mean? Because they're not pressing so much. I could see him starting against Ipswich. And he's going to have to live with that. He's going to have to live with that, right?
Squad rotation, you know what I mean?
I mean, we have seen him. I have seen him stick tackles in. You've seen more of it though.
He did in the last game when he come on. He put a good tackle in. I think he's a quality player, but I think like you said, like Brad alluded to as well, there will be certain games where we have to chop and change and play the different midfielders, for different games. They bring different, like I said before, they bring different attributes to our team. And that, we need to work that out. Ange needs to work that out, in certain games against different teams. So for me, Maddison, he was a good buy for me. I think he's that creative spark that we've been missing.
Yeah.
He is. He's totally different to Kulu. He brings something different to the team. He's got that killer pass as well, in with the striker. I think you do have to play him in certain games, and he will have to be on the bench in certain games, and that's just the way, that's the way it is. But I think Ange will, to this point, I think Ange has got it right with our midfielders in certain games. I think that's one thing you do need to praise him on in his team selection. So I think Maddison, that was a quality free kick as well. Quality free. I've been waiting for that for ages.
Yeah.
To score a free kick. I mean, when was the last time we scored a free kick?
I think it was Everton in 2019. From memory,
far too long. Far too long. I mean,
John scored one, I think, against Palace, but it was a lucky one. It's from on the left during COVID, and it crawled in the far corner. That was a free kick that went straight. Mark, Maddison, I mean, like all players, I think the only time you're definitely going to play him, even if you wouldn't have under a circumstances, is when a player's really hot in training or on a really good streak. You leave him in, don't you? There's an old saying. Klopp used to play players on form, not on reputation. And I think,
well, after Sunday, his name is now James Mascoigne.
Mascoigne,
James Mascoigne. Well, no, I'm not taking credit for that. Expressions calls him that.
Oh, right, that sounds like an expression thing to
say. It was, and so I'm not intelligent enough to make that up. Right, but I mean, the first 10 games last season when we signed him, he undroppable, absolutely on fire. Then Matty Cash kicked him, and he was out for Lord knows how long, and he fell off a cliff.
Like Matty Cash do something like that, really.
Right, exactly. But then he fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
But he's one of these players. He frustrates me a little bit because 1 minute he's brilliant and the next minute you don't see him. He's not. I mean, I know I just called him James Mascoigne, but let's face it, he's not Gazza, is he? He does not affect the game like that. But he's a brilliant player, and when he's on fire, but it's when he's on fire, isn't it? very in and out, in my opinion. You know,
All
I
these
mean,
ball players tend to have them patches for a
yeah,
season.
yeah, I
You
suppose
do.
so. But like,
Ericsson did. I mean, great
yeah,
player as well. They all did. Let's move
yeah,
on to as we're talking about midfielders, and we got Ange has to pick 3 from 7, so the permutations must be about 40 different permutations. You know what I mean? Right. Let's move on to on that subject. Spurs Premier League midfield starts. Kulusevski's had 9, Madison's had 9, Bentancur's had 6, Basuma's had 4, Sar's had 3. Phil, when are we going to see Grail Bergvall get the first start in the league? I mean, I want to see him.
wait,
I want to see him against Ipswich. I want to see Gray in the 6. I want to see either Bentancur. Well, hopefully his ban isn't up then. But I want to see either Bentancur or Basuma with Gray in the 6 in his proper position, and Bergvall in the 10. That's what I want to see on Ipswich. I think we can afford to do that. I think that's a good enough midfield to get through a team in Ipswich. You know, as long as
especially at home,
as well. Yeah, I think you do need to play Sonny, Johnson, and Solanke just in case that midfield is weaker. I think it's a good enough midfield to get through. But we need to give him a start at least this season.
Yeah.
We can't give him like 10 minutes spells in games. It's not good enough.
The problem with that, though, is, Brad, isn't it, that we're going well at the moment, and if Ange makes changes and it comes asunder, we know how like
we're back to Ange out again, aren't we? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just to put in, Adrian, right? We brought these players in like Gray, right?
Yes.
£40 million, right? If they're not good enough to play, if they're not good enough to start against Ipswich, why have we brought them in? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I don't think there's any doubts about their undoubtable talents that their players have got.
I don't doubt.
Then it's slotting them in with the right blend at the right time. I mean, we've seen Gray get games in Europe. We have seen a little bit of Bergvall, but then he got a knock, right? And bearing in mind, I mean, I talked today about we'll come to Galatasaray in a minute or later, but I mean, like, bear in mind that it's 2 games till Sunday, and then there's a 10-day. But you got a 10th of November to the 18th. There's an international break. We know Romero won't be going. I'll come through the injuries later with you, and things like that. So I'm not so sure Ange is going to go weak against Ipswich, or even weak against what we would consider weak, because the squad has improved technically, So I'm not sure he will. He will, but I mean, I don't know. And just fooled me with his selections.
I can't see them both starting. I get your point, Phil. I don't think they are getting. Let's face it, Bergvall was unlucky in the first European game because Dragosin got sent off. So they are playing in those games. Gray's getting a few cameo performances at the end of games. I think it's very dangerous. I think to say, any team can beat Ipswich. Because this is a game that what's going to happen if we did that and we didn't beat Ipswich. Then all hell's going to break loose.
I'll just caveat that though. I understand what you're saying, but I just think we're bringing in a midfielder, on a price tag of Gray, 40 million. I think he's played against Championships teams before. I mean, Ipswich has only just come up from the Championship, so I think he's more than ready to play against an Ipswich side.
You know what? You know what Ange would say though. He said, "Well, I don't pick my teams based on how much they've cost."
I know that, but I think if we look at Gray in the Championship, he's more than good enough to play against a team that's just come up in the Prem.
So Phil, then if as we've seen Gray against Man City, all right, Matthias Nunes gave him a bit of a hard test, but he came through okay.
Playing right back.
Yeah, so we know Gray can handle it in the Premier League, because it's whether it's a cup game or not. But that was Man City. So would you rather see Bergvall out of the 2 then if it come to Ipswich then?
I'd like to see them both.
Yeah, I know.
Brad.
I know.
Yeah. I
What in separate halves though, or you just want to see them start?
No, I want to see him start. I want to see him start. I want Bergvall in the 10. I wanted that front three cannot change for me. Just in case this midfield three is not going to hit it off from the start. We have to have that front three. But I think Bergvall is a quality midfielder, and he's a sort of type of a Madison player. I don't think it's a risk for me. I think you play great in that 6 where he's used to, and I think you play a Bentancur in there just to help him through the game. I don't think it's a risk.
I think that I think with Bergvall it's sort of like for like. So if, for instance, Madison got injured maybe and that sort of thing, then you could put him in Madison's place alongside Jesse.
Yeah.
I get the impression that they're and the same goes for oh, my memory is so bad. Mikey Moore. Same goes for Mikey Moore. I think they're just trying to gradually put them into the team, give them game time, and not rush them too much. 18s. I mean, I can't remember what I was doing when I was 18, but
I can.
well, we don't want to hear that, Mark.
Well, it involves cider.
Oh, right, yeah. But
Right.
yeah, I think they'll get a lot of game time in Europe, especially in these early rounds. But I do get what you're saying about they should be good enough to play against Ipswich, but I don't like that sort of way of picking the team of saying, well, that's only Ipswich, we'll put them in, give them a game. I think you're playing with fire a bit there. That's my own personal opinion, anyway. But they're certainly. I think they're certainly good enough to eventually. I think they'll eventually will become. This is basically our new team, isn't it? This is going to be our.
I mean, maybe I'm not giving Ipswich a bit of respect here in the sense of me starting them team straight away. But I just think, just as a fan, I'd like to see them from the start and see what they can do. Because I think like I get nurturing these players and bringing them on for 10, 15 minutes. And slowly bringing them into the team. But I'd like to see them from the start just to see what they can do. And I think against Ipswich is a perfect game for them to do that.
For a bit of transparency, I have to say that I do know 2 Ipswich supporters, so it's like.
I just say,
a bit of a fan. I've got a few stats for you guys.
Can I just say though? Can I just say before you move on? I've only watched Ipswich once this season, and that was the first game of the season. They were the first game on when they played Liverpool, and Ipswich. I know. All right, it was at Portman Road. I think I got that right. But Ipswich were home to Liverpool, and Ipswich are no mugs. To be honest, Liverpool sort of squeaked a win that day. I forget, it was either 1-0 or 2-0.
Liam Delap scored, didn't he?
Yeah, but it wasn't.
Already is so.
It wasn't easy. Yeah. It certainly wasn't easy.
They also drew 2 against Villa as well, didn't they? At Portman Road?
Yeah.
Archie Gray does. He does play in the 6. He's playing up against his old teammate Calvin Phillips as well. So that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting to see. Yeah.
No, but all I'm saying is Ipswich are no mugs. Ipswich are no mugs from what I saw.
Is this a concern? 9 times a goal scored on the left-hand side of a goal mouth. This happened against Leicester, Newcastle, Coventry, Brentford, West Ham, Ferencváros, Brighton, Palace, Villa. Is this a coincidence? You know where I get these stats. Well, we like
I don't know where you got that from, Adrian, but yeah, that's a good one, that.
No, just it was in my mind. I thought, how many times will Mark trigger me off at the beginning of the season when we conceded on the left against Newcastle and Leicester, and Mark was going on about it. I just thought, I'll keep an eye on it. And it just seems to be like,
I forgot I said that.
In a way things happen, or I'm going to keep an eye on it, though. Even now, I'll keep this and I'll update it if it needs updating, like I do the yellow card watch. So,
interesting.
Turn or not, or I'll move on to the next. It's just something.
You have to be. I think it could be a concern. I've heard someone else say it as well, but you have to be very careful with statistics.
Yeah.
Someone came out with statistics. An Ange Out guy said, "Oh, his win ratio, his win percentage is less than Nuno." Blah blah blah. And we sat Nuno. Well, Phil Mickelson's win percentage was less than Nuno as well, and less than
I've got all that on the banners anyway.
Yeah, so like it just shows you can use statistics how you want them. But yeah, I think it's probably the way we play, where our fullbacks play. Maybe the fact it's come from the same side is a coincidence, but I think if the goals are coming from that side, I think it's just the way we play. And
I believe that them sort of goals that we conceded against Newcastle, where it was one ball down the side and they were in, that seems to have stopped now, because those fullbacks, you don't see them up where Kulu is anymore, do you? Not really.
No.
You know what I mean?
They don't invert as much. I know that they do overlap quite a lot now.
And a lot of the time I've seen it, like when the other team's got the ball, you can see our back four all in a line. All right, they're all stood on the halfway line, but they are
in a line. Yeah,
they're all in a line.
Right, I'll move on to yellow card watch, which I've updated. See, Romero's got his first yellow card down the bottom. But, you've got to get to 18 games to get an amnesty. I don't see Basuma and VDV. Basuma always gets a needly yellow card, or he's diving and feigning injury or something, like when he got sent off at Luton last year. His third suspension. VDV's on 4. All right, it's probably taken them for the team. Kulu's on 3. Madison on 3, taking his shirt off and dissent, mainly. Bentancur for getting stuck in. You doggy for getting stuck in.
Hang on a minute. But just before you carry on, one of James Madison's was for hugging the Arsenal goalkeeper, and he got booked. Remember that?
I thought their goalkeeper should have been sent off for that, personally, but the referee bottled that.
But
a lot of Madison's bookings were back chatting the ref as well. I don't think they were for challenges, were they? Really?
Yeah. One of them was taking his shirt off. Another one was for a nonsense with the Arsenal goalkeeper, where he did nothing. Yeah, and the other one was for mouthing off. So, I mean, that's free.
I'll update, obviously, when we get...
Are these Premier League? Are these just Premier League, are they?
Yes. If you get 5 bookings in the first 18 games, you get a 1-match ban. If you get 5 bookings in the second 18 games, you get 2-match ban.
I think all we want not to happen is for Basuma and Bentancur to hit their 5 bookings on the same day.
Well, this is it.
Yeah, because I think
Spurs, though, Brad. This is Spurs.
Even around the Man United game in the Carabao Cup, you don't really want to be losing them sort of players in that game. That does count for the Premier League. It's a domestic cup, isn't it?
But if Biss and Bentancur get their yellow card, then at least you'll see Gray in the 6.
Hey, there you go.
They've got no choice then.
I'd see you Phil, and the guys, go on, hammer him, go on, get him.
I'll keep updating it and just hope that my sources are correct. By the way, if anyone who sees it and my facts are wrong, let me know. I'll apologise and gladly change it. I'm not here to mislead anyone. Right. Okay. Injury woes. Romero, big toe ligament injury. Now, the latest news on this is that he's only going to be out for a week.
Big toe ligament. Is this true, Adrian, or have you just made that up?
No, it is a big toe ligament injury. It's a toe ligament injury. They thought he might have had a broken toe in his foot in the game. So
7 to 10, I've heard. 7 to 10.
Yeah, they got an international break, haven't we?
He'd be back after the international break, right? So he ain't going away. So at least he won't be getting injured away. You know what I mean? Charlison's hamstrings are a slight one, not serious. So I should imagine he'll be back after the break.
Well, yeah.
BDV's is slight, again, not serious. But you know what you get in the press. Oh, he's going to be out for 4 weeks, 6 weeks. You get all these rumours again. Don't believe them. Because we'll keep you up to date.
Can I ask a question on these hamstrings, though, just before you go through this? With the way that we play, with our pressing and up the pitch and our running stats that are so high, do you think these hamstring injuries are a problem to the way we play? Do you think these are these are occurring more often because of the way we play? Is what I'm asking.
I do because it just all arrows lead that way, don't they? I mean, if you go back to when Poch was out Southampton.
Oh, you just stole what I was going to say.
And he was going to introduce the press there, the Guggen press, they call it in Germany. Southampton were flying till about Christmas, then got loads of injuries. When Poch came to us, we were right for a couple of seasons with Kane or Son. Then they kept, it's either Kane or Son were out with injuries, right? They kept picking them up. If you look at Klopp at Liverpool, first few seasons, he loses a couple of trophies, then he wins the Champions League third, and then what happened? Starts picking up all these injuries. Look at City now with De Bruyne, Rodri, and others. I mean, you know, the evidence is sort of leaning that way. We need, and we could say, just make a bold statement without no scientific proof, this is the reason.
Yeah.
Which it seems as though it's the reason, but
Well, fingers are pointing, though, aren't they?
yeah, they are.
With our medical team as well, I worry.
Well,
you know,
I've questioned how they warm up and things like that, because for things like hamstrings and that, when you train for years like I did, you go on the bike first thing when you go in a gym, and all you want to do is just pedal with no resistance. You're not trying to build muscles in your calves or anything like that. All you're trying to do is get the core of your body warmed up, all the blood and nutrients into all your tendons and all that. So you do it for 5 minutes. You don't use up any energy or whatever. And then you would go on a leg curl machine where you're laying face down and your heels are under like 2 pads, and you lift the thing up. You can put weights on it, but again, you wouldn't put no weight on that. And what that does, it warms up the muscles, which are your hamstrings that run from your back down to your back of your knees. They'll get nice and warmed up. Now, I know
isn't it like hydro chambers as well that they use for like muscle?
I don't know what sort of. I mean, they might have. I mean, that's just me saying that in a gym, but they might have better ways of doing these things nowadays to when I trained. I don't know, or maybe the science team need to be more clued up. I don't know. We don't know what goes on down there. I don't know what their warm up and warm down processes are.
I'll be honest.
Definitely warming up before a game, and they've got a warm up area in the new stadium when you're in the home dressing room and all that. There is a warm up area.
Because in Australian rules football, they actually near the bench they have exercise bikes, and the substitute. Because obviously Australian rules football, they have interchange, so you come on, you come off, you come on. But they have exercise bikes, and you can see
they do that for the NFL as well, don't they? They have exercise bikes on the side. Yeah. I've seen that.
Right, let's move on to this. The Loan Watch. Gil doing all right. Lo Celso's doing well. Højbjerg's doing well at Marseille. Scarlett scored 3 goals in 10 games for Oxford. He's starting to fly now. Craig Matthews is at Barnley. George Abbott is doing very well at Notts County. Josh Keeley and James Daly, they're at Orient. They were sort of doing okay, sort of in and getting game time, and then not. Elogi Velez, he scored a hat-trick the other day and a Copa del Rey for his side. Is it Sevilla he's with? I'm not sure.
Espanyol.
Yeah, Alfie Devine and Luka Vaskovic, they're at Westerlo in Belgium, but Vaskovic can come to us when he's 18. I think that's.
I hear he's been a star.
And he's banged in some goals. And you want to see him? He's 17, right? He's built like a brick. You know what, right?
He's like Guardiola, isn't he? Really, I think he's that sort of
6'5", 6'5" it is, isn't he?
I mean, if he's running at you, you dive out of the way, right? Basically, you get out of the way of him, right? Just what I'm saying. So that's just a bit on the long, right? So before we
I'm
move on,
surprised Eddie ain't turned up since you mentioned Højbjerg.
Oh right, yeah. Someone mentioned Angie's record, right? And just want to. This is a stat. I stand to be corrected. If anybody out there doesn't believe me when they're watching them play back or whatever, went and got these and sourced it. So I can only go by the source I go to. I don't source from 3 or 4 places. It just takes too long, right? So this is Angie's record. Ange, 56 matches, 31 wins, 8 draws, 17 losses. He's got a 56.36% win ratio. Marino games, 58. He's only got a 46.55%, right? Conte games, 55, bit better than Ange, 58%. Poch's games, now bear in mind, Poch has played 210 games, 202 games, so a 56% win ratio is good. AVB, 54, 58. Remember the inverted wingers, right? And Nuno nowhere near him, 10, 50%. Now, we can argue about different squads and people can read it back in the day, but all them other managers apart from Ange had one Harry Kane playing for them as well, right? You know, which makes a difference, because if he don't make a difference, I don't know what does. So I'm going to keep updating this through the season, whether it goes well or badly for Ange.
Well, as a control, I think you need Bill Nicholson in there, maybe Keith Birkinshaw.
Well, no, I've gone from Poch to now, from when the stadium's open till now.
I just don't know as a control. Because as I said earlier, you can use stats for anything.
Yeah, I can. I mean, I'm just put them out there. I see people. I'm not trying to allude to one way or another, but I'm just saying, like I do with a lot of my videos, I just give them to people. Well,
is that banner filled up, Adrian? If you mind me asking, is that because you're allowed so many characters, aren't you, in a banner? If I can Google his stats, and it'll fit on there, I will add the. I will add.
What, Bill Nicholson?
Yeah, Bill Nick.
Right.
Because that's why I ask you if the banner was filled up.
Yeah, you can give them to me later if you want.
I'd hazard a guess
how we compare something from the 60s to now, like, you know. Bill Nicholson joined the club in 1958, 4 years after Danny Blanchflower. Right. The match he took over, fun enough, interesting stat for you guys. The manager resigned, Spurs manager Anderson resigned in the morning of the Spurs game with Everton. Bill Nicholson takes over against Everton and we win 10-4. Right. Spurs too short of 4 academy trained players, so restricted to a 23-man Europa League squad. But will 23 players travel? Don't think so with injuries, unless we're including academy players. Phil? On that, I have to add, actually, you're allowed, because it's, I mean, let me put this on here, right? You're allowed 12 substitutes for Europa League games, not 9. So that's why it's 23, 11 and 12, 23. Yeah.
I think you'll see Spence in that in January. I think you'll see he'll be in the squad.
If we get rid of Werner, because you'd need to free up a European place.
Can't you? I mean,
no, you can rename your European. No, tell a lie. Because you
take him out anyway.
You can rename your. Yeah, you could take Werner out. You could.
Yeah,
you can rename. I think because of all the games we're going to play, as much as I don't want Werner at the club, right? Doesn't score goals, right? One in 20.
Can you not take Forster out and put Spence in? Can you not do that?
Well, that's always confused me because we've got 4 goalkeepers, haven't we? So
Forster's one of the homegrown.
So we can't take any of the goalkeepers out.
Out of the 8 homegrown for Europe, 4 have to be academy trained, right? Which means they have to have been with the academy for 3 years to qualify as academy trained. Otherwise, you're penalised in the European squad.
Right? That's why we only got 23, isn't it? Not 25.
And the B list, for the B list, you have to be with the academy for 2 years. Why it isn't more simple than this, I don't know. You know what I mean? But it, right? So, yeah, I mean, I see youngsters going. I don't know whether we'll bother. I mean, Levy might want to save a few airfares and leave a few people at home, like, you know what I mean? So,
let's be honest, I think we need them. I think the squad is too thin. I think we need youngsters to go as well.
Romero doesn't travel, and Richarlison doesn't travel. Just to have them around the squad for encouragement, why take them? Levy want to save the airfares, right? So that's right. So
would they be going on easy journey?
I don't know if Odeberg was named in the European squad. I can't remember what the European squad was now. Right. So yeah.
Well, let's face it, if it's up to our glorious leader, then they'll be going on EasyJet anyway.
or by boat.
Yeah.
Rush to get the seat. Where's the seat? On the window seat.
Okay, right. So that's the 23. So let's give me some stats on Galatasaray, right? Galatasaray sit top of their league, played 10, won 9, drawn 1, lost 0, points 28, 429 against 9, goal difference of plus 20. Spurs sit 7th in the Premier League, played 10, won 5, drawn 1, lost 4, points 16, 422, the most goals scored in the Premier League, by the way, against 11, goal difference of plus 11. Second to Liverpool, right? Now, this is interesting because Galatasaray's previous 6 meeting against English sides, 1-1, drawn 2, lost 3. It's not impressive. 1-1 out of 6 games. I mean, they've got impressive names in their lineup, but it's more players that are towards the end of their careers that end up in the Turkish league. Otherwise, they'd be playing somewhere else, wouldn't they?
Do they manage on Mourinho?
No, that's Fenerbahce. But these games here, though, Adrian, are these at home or away, or how many of them are away or at home? These games.
I think that might be all of us.
That I couldn't say. That I can't say.
That's probably all of us.
I assume they were home games because they've been in Europe a lot. But if anyone else in the chat, let me know if someone like.
Because I'd say Galatasaray have, they're one of the toughest teams to play away from home. So I think.
Well, they moved recently. I think I don't know how long ago. From that.
They have moved stadium. Yeah,
they moved it to a 54,000 seater or something. So I'll be honest, that's for sure, right?
I was going to say that they're one of the toughest teams, but that's not necessarily their team. That's just the fans.
Yeah. Yeah, we ain't got to play the fans, though, have we?
Well, no.
They have. Mark, they have had good players at their club. They've had Mario Icardi. They've had some quality players, yeah. But I think like Osman's another one that they've got at the club at the moment. He's one that we're going to have to keep quiet.
Well, to be honest, one of their home games is like tonight outside here. There's fireworks everywhere.
I'm looking at
the previous games in Turkey. Funnily enough, have been against Besiktas.
They beat in their Europa League at home. They only beat Elfsberg 4-3, and Elfsberg, as I understand it, are one of the weaker teams in the competition. And
I think Elfsberg beat Roma. Take that.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think so.
There, my theory falls down a bit, but
right. So our record's not. Well, it's not. I mean, we've only played Besiktas out there, drawn 1-1, drawn 1, and lost 1. So you can't really read too much into that. But it's just a stat. B list of academy players has to be announced 24 hours before the Europa games. To qualify for the B list, players must have been with the academy for 2 years. The good thing about this, guys, is that next season we won't have to worry about 4 academy trained players for Europe that have been with the academy 3 years, because a lot of these 2-year players would have reached the 3-year level.
Yeah,
and we can get rid of Whiteman, the goalkeeper, or whatever, and things like that.
And so that means next year, I take it we will get in Europe. Like we'll have 25 in the squad instead of 23 like this year.
Well, we might not be out squeezing. Well, then you don't know what we're doing in the transfer.
No. But I'm just saying. We will be able to fulfill the 25.
And extra 2 players can be crucial as well, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Right. Okay. So that's just a bit more of a stat for you. Spurs vs Gallery predicted lineup. This is going to be fun. Let's start with Phil Vicario. Foster. There you go. Who do you think will start?
Vicario for me. Vicario. Back 4. We're going to do the whole squad.
Just go for this a second. I've got other.
For this one, Vicario. It's got to be Vicario. Forster. Maybe in certain Carabao Cup games,
home games,
not against Man United, of course, but Forster for me doesn't play a lot of the games this season. It's got to be Vicario.
When did Forster last play? Was that against Man City in the League Cup?
He made them saves against. It was in the Europa League against. Was it AZ Alkmaar? Wasn't it?
He did against Coventry as well, didn't he?
He did play against Coventry, yeah. Oh, yeah, I think it's AZ, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
AZ, yeah. He did make a good save, to be fair. He made a couple of saves in that game.
Mm. He made a wonderful sliding block against Coventry, didn't he, before we won that game as well?
So we were going for Vicario and goal then, are we?
We played every game last season. I mean, for this one, Ange might play Forster. I think.
No.
I'm not being funny.
We need to win this game, Adrian. We need to win it.
Yes.
I'm not being funny.
I want us to go strong, so Vicario for me, yeah?
Yeah. I'm not being funny. Keepers don't need a rest today.
No.
Because they don't exactly do it. Well, no. I'm not being nasty, but they don't run about, do they? You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
All they got to do is jump about.
Brad's voice can hold up. He's got a bit of a throat, right? Spurs lack quality depth at left back. Now, who plays at left back?
Doji. Doji.
I mean, he might go with with Archie Gray again.
I was going to say probably Archie Gray.
Right, left back.
That means
Really?
you've got Porro at right back. Hmm.
I think
it's a question of who do you
Or
leave out, Udogie or Porro? I think that's where it comes down. I think Archie Gray will be one
it'd
of
be interesting if Alfie Dorrington was brought into the squad.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he can
But
play,
then-
he plays left centre back. He can play at left back. I mean, but yeah.
It's quite a big ask in that sort of game, isn't it?
Yeah.
He doesn't normally play there, so
If you're playing Davies at left back, then you've got to play Gray as centre back alongside.
But
Dragosin,
we've just seen Dragosin and Davis
and
play
Porro's
together
got to play.
for half an hour. So I think I wouldn't want to split that partnership up.
No, you have to play Davis and Jackson together. I'll play Gray, right?
Yeah, it comes down to Gray will play, I think, at fullback. But whether right or back depends on whether Udogie or Porro plays.
Yeah. It's the same thing, Nona. It's square pegs for round holes again.
If Gray plays at right back and you've got Dragosin and Davies as your centre pairing, which is what I'd like to see, then Udogie has to play.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the engine to cope with his games. He's a freak. He's like Sar and Decky. They're freaks when it comes to running, right? So, but the point is, it leaves us like threadbare at centre back, even on the bench, unless you bring Dorrington in as an emergency. Can't bring in. Oh, I forgot to mention Phillips, who's at Stoke. You know, you can't bring him in, so he was doing all right at Stoke. Well, brings on to that who partners Dragosin. It's got to be Davis, isn't it?
It'll be Davis. Yeah.
Okay. Now we move on to what Phil was alluding to earlier. Bobo will get minutes in this game?
Not in this game from the start, no.
Bench at best, yeah?
Yeah. For me, yeah. Too I think it's too big for Bergvall in the game. I think yeah. For me, you have to go strong in midfield. That's where the game won. It's like most games in midfield. So
I know we all want to see us do well in this competition, but we got 9 points out of 9. I believe we've got 2 home games left.
2 home games.
And so if we win them, that'll put us on 15. Surely that's enough to get us into the top 8. I know we're not, but I've sort of had this feeling. Does it really matter? I know it matters for momentum and all that, but does it really matter if we were to drop points?
Yes.
Away in.
Mark, the reason why I say it matters is because what I alluded to before. If we get momentum, and we need to pick up away form as well.
Yeah.
It's not just league form. We need to do it in every competition. And this type of game helps with that, especially a game like Galatasaray.
Yeah.
It's
It's not just the result; it's the manner of the result.
Yeah.
As I've been presuming that Madison's travelled.
Well, I presume that Lancashire will travel as well, because if Richarlison's injured,
then
Lancashire might even start ahead of Solanke.
Do you know if they've even left yet, Adrian? Have they flown out? Are they out there now?
Probably tomorrow, wouldn't it? I'd imagine.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything on the website.
No.
I think that Madison will start because Madison's missed the last 2 games, and I think he'll probably rest Kulichevsky.
Well, let's go through the team and then we'll wrap it up, right? Okay, so we're saying basically Vicario and goal, aren't we? We're saying Udogie's got to play. It's Davies. We're looking like Davies, Dragosin, and Gray. Unless Ange thinks I want to get these points in the bag quick and I can mess about later on when we've already qualified. Because I'm not sure where it matters where you finish in the top 8. I don't think you get any bias against the teams in the playoff. I think you'll be playing a team in the playoff if you finish in the top 8 in this league. But I don't think it's seeded like the top team that finished top in this league plays the worst team in the playoffs. You know what I mean, or whatever. I mean, you'd think they would do it something like that, but I'm not sure that's the way it works.
Well, it just means if you finish between 8th and 24th, you get an extra game. That's
Yeah.
But I want to win in finishing the top 8, definitely.
Oh, yeah. Well, to be honest, if we don't do that from this position when we've won 3 in a row,
Phil,
we're flipping out.
Midfielders for you?
Yeah,
Look.
the midfield 3 for me, City 4-1 down. Wow.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
For me, the midfield, I think it's going to be a physical battle this game. I think you have to play Kulusevski in the Maddison role. I wouldn't bring Maddison into this game. Kulu, Bentancur, and Sarr. That's the midfield 3 I'll go with. Sarr with his energy, Bentancur with his his work rate and his nice midfield, top passing ability, and Kulusevski brings what he brings.
I'm just going by what I think Ange will do. I think he's played Sarr in the last 2 games, so I think he might rotate Sarr. I think he'll bring Maddison in because he'll rotate Kulusevski. I think he'll give Bergwijn a run. And then I guess it's between Maddison, Bergwijn. That's quite attacking. I agree with it. It's going to be a physical game. You might have Basuma in for Bentancur, maybe. I don't know. He's
got options. Mark,
yeah.
do you think he'll have a more defensive midfield? I do. I'll be honest. I do when I come to it.
Well, to be honest, it's hard to know what Ange is going to do because we've had so many shows where we've tried to predict the lineup and we've not really got close in any of them. See, personally, it's like I understand what Phil said about the momentum and we got to start winning away and all that, but you know what I mean? Seems, it's not the end of the world if we lose this game. In my opinion, I can understand what Phil said about we got to start winning away, and yes, I agree with that. But Galatasaray, it's a hell of a place to go, isn't it? I mean, all right. Well, they've got some good players, but it's just the atmosphere on that. If we can win there, then surely that's got to give us confidence.
Well, Hungary was as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, they all are. Places like that. I mean, they always make it very hostile and volatile in the stadium, and but the midfield. Then, personally, I'd like to see the same 3 that was in for Villa: Sarr, Bentancur, and
because if we could get a goal up, then he can change things and rest people.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
There were so many possibilities.
Personally, seeing as we're home, and I'm not disrespecting Ipswich, but I think Thursday's game's going to be harder than Saturday.
Well, and it's going to pick the team he thinks will win the game, mate.
Exactly.
I just think it's going to be a physical battle against us.
Yeah.
I think we have to sort of go a little bit defensive, but obviously Kulu, the way he drives us forward, I think it's so important to us. So I think he's like Mark said. I think you stick with that 3 midfield. That's working best for us, and it'll work best for us in this type of game. I think.
Yeah,
but with the games that are coming up as well. I mean, you've got Galatasaray away, and you've got Hoffenheim away as well. Is it?
Ipswich at home, then the international break. So we got a break for 10th to the 8th.
Yeah, but Hoffenheim we have got away, haven't we? Is it away?
Yeah, Hoffenheim is away. I've got them all.
And then you got Roma and Augsburg at home.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So I mean, Augsburg and Roma ain't doing that well in their league. I fancy us against them 2 teams at home anyway. So if we win them 2 games, then I think we'll probably be through anyway.
Oh, right. We're getting Rangers, aren't we?
Oh, Rangers as well. Yeah, Rangers. Yeah. I mean, they ain't doing great. that'll be it.
The league games aren't in between here, but you see, we got Galatasaray away, then the international break after Ipswich, because Ipswich is Sunday. Then it's Roma at home, Rangers away, Hoffenheim away, Elfsberg at home. I mean,
That'd be a nice friendly game. Rangers away.
Well, I guess he plays two teams against Galatasaray and Ipswich. They've got that international break in there to sort of recover. So
yeah. I mean, if we can put it to bed and beat Galatasaray and get them put it to bed early, then in these other 2 or 3 games towards the end, we can start like rotating and bringing our youngsters in and giving them more game time.
Because of Sarr and Cooley's engine, I'd be tempted to play both of them with Bergvall. And go that way, because Bergvall's physical, he's 6'2", he can put it in there, he can look after himself, right? Or if I was going to take Bergvall out, Basuma, he's not had that many games. I'd play Basuma with Kulu, and Sarr.
It's hard to tell what he's going to do. I think he tends to rotate. Yeah, he tends to rotate Bentancur and Basuma, doesn't he? That's sort of like a straight swap. It seems to work that way.
I'd be tempted to save Maddison to unpick the low block Ipswich you're going to play against us on, the weekend. So, and it's an away game. It's great when we've got the ball and they're slick interchanging passing work, but when it doesn't, Maddison he disappears.
I think Bergvall will play. Actually, I think he'll start.
Otherwise, when are you going to start him? As you alluded to earlier.
Well, exactly. And it gives them experience, doesn't it? In tough games that.
If not,
they need to experience it. Yeah, at some point.
If not, he gets the second half, doesn't he? If Ange wants to just, it's like try and kill the game first 20 minutes, slow it down. Unless we're flying, like we bang in a couple.
They'll experience it. They'll come on in the game. I've no doubt. Do you know what I mean? It's just whether they'll start or not. But I mean, like Maddison, you have to sort of play 2 physical midfielders in there. If you're going to play Maddison as well to unlock, and unlock their defence, then you have to have a Bentancur and a Sarr in there just for their energy and physicality. If you're going to play just Maddison in front of them, but you need more physicality in that midfield against Galatasaray. I think it's going to be a
right. So we're finished with the front 3. Are you seeing like Mikey Moore or Lancashire starting this? You seeing Werner getting a game here, or what? Frightening the life out of all of us.
No, hang on.
Well, I think Lancashire might.
WDL, Mark. Yeah.
I think you might see Lancashire start. Yeah, you could have Mikey Moore and Werner, couldn't you? Really? I guess it depends on how seriously he wants to win this game. Every game, but
I think Son might be on the bench, but I think he's rested, isn't he, or what?
Yeah. I don't know if he's travelling or not. I don't know.
Well, we won't know until tomorrow. And then they haven't travelled because all the media would have pictures of players boarding a plane, and then they come up with these bullshit stories. Oh, so and so didn't leave. Well, he just wasn't in the camera shot. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah.
All that crap, right? So they obviously haven't left unless they leave at night to fool the media.
Well, it's like you said, Adrian, because they normally fly at Stansted, don't they?
Yeah,
I don't know for Turkey. It's different.
It makes sense. It's in the area.
Yeah. I was saying, Stansted's only up the road, isn't it?
Yeah, they get the charter jets, don't they? Normally.
But what they do is they'll probably leave from Hotspur Way because you've got the hotel there.
Yeah.
And when they come back, they'll stay at Hotspur Way, which means they haven't got to get in cars and go home and have all that crap travel. Like they can chill. It's all geared from there. Like they are pampered, right? Yeah. So, front 3, Phil. Mikey Moore starting?
No.
It's got to be. What we've got to do. Slanky up top.
Gets a rest. Mikey Moore. He could play. He can play anywhere on the front 3, but for the under 21s, he mainly played on the left because he's right-footed, which is
Slanky up top. Werner on the left.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm just doing that for Mark, just to piss him off.
Well, no. I'll be honest,
No,
Phil.
no.
I'll be honest,
No,
Phil. I can actually see it. I
actually do think you're not just.
Well, Werner is on a hot goal scoring streak at the moment, isn't he?
I do think Werner will play in this game.
One of these last 1 games.
Yeah, I think Werner, Solanke. Who we got to choose from on the right wing? Johnson.
Play Mikey Moore there, or Johnson, really. That's about it.
Mikey Moore and Johnson. It'll be Johnson, I think. It'll be Johnson.
I think Lancashire might get a game.
Yeah.
I do think Werner.
I completely agree with you, Harry.
Because I think with Solanke, he's more than likely going to get picked up in the England squad, isn't he? So he's been putting in for Tottenham lately. You'd like to give him a rest in this game, really.
Yeah, I want to see him keep playing. I want to get him the goals. The more goals he's going to get, the more game time, the better for me.
It's not like Decky or Sarr, though. Slanky's probably still getting his breath back, like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, true.
Mark, front three?
I hate to say it, but I can see I can see him starting. But is Solanke in the middle and Brennan on the right, but I can see. I'm not even going to say his name. But he's on a hot run at the moment. He scored 1 goal.
Yeah,
which is probably more than he's done in the last 5.
Scored 1, missed 10. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's it exactly. Yeah, I mean,
onwards and upwards, man.
You could be totally left field and having Moore and Werner on the wings and Johnson up front.
If it was halves though, this is good now, and that we can debate options where we never used to have them before, even in midfield and up front. I mean, if Son was to be given a half, right, then I'd have confidence in Lancashire starting with Johnson on the right.
Yeah,
you know, but it's just because although Werner, he's a good footballer, he doesn't score goals. That's no good in the front three. I've said it on so many podcasts now. If you can't score goals and you're one of the front three, I don't want you in my team.
Does this comment deserve a time, mate?
Team is he does.
He's got a point. He's got a point. Werner's got a lot of experience in Europe. He's got a lot of experience. He won't be phased by this game.
I think Werner will start, and I think if he starts, Solanke has to play. You've got to have a more. And Solanke's in a good form, right? But Lancashire will have to go. I mean, we'll see if he gets on the plane tomorrow, because the only other player you're going to play in through the middle is Decky. And it's not really his position there. You know, he wasn't too comfortable when he played it against, was it Newcastle or was it Leicester? Solanke got injured against Leicester, didn't he?
Yeah.
So Decky played through the middle against Newcastle, I think.
Decky's always said Decky's always said that his preferred position is number 10. And it just goes to show that if you play him in where he prefers to play. Oh, hang on. We got some scores coming in. Liverpool are now 4 up. And if I go back a bit, where is it? Here we go.
Go on.
I believe that team are now finished. They're rubbish, aren't they?
But they're in a league as well, you see, so don't get excited, because they got to finish in the top 8. So you can have one of them days, and Pep will know that.
Yeah.
Injuries, you know, De Bruyne is fit now, I think.
Oh, so Liverpool, Leverkusen, that's they won the title, didn't they?
Xabi Alonso back at Liverpool.
Yeah.
Sporting could be given a nice last performance for Armoro, whatever his name is.
Yeah, right. And just one more thing, because I believe you're going to wrap up, Adrian. Just one more thing. All in the chat, please sub to Brad.
Yes, please. Yes.
Fantastic songs.
I'm working on my Christmas song now. That's the next song I'll do, the Christmas song. So the last one was a bit somber, I have to say, and rushed. I didn't really come out like I wanted to. But if you go onto that website, there's some decent songs on there.
Yeah.
There's a section called Top 10. That's probably a good place to start. That's where I think I've hit my stuff. And
And I believe you write them all yourself, don't you?
I do. I write the lyrics, write the music, or do the music, play all the instruments. All right, the drumming is basically drum loops, but you still got to put them in the right place. Keyboards, bass, guitar, sing, do videos for it, whether that might be a silly one of me or just sort of still photographs. Yeah, so it's all me basically.
Good, it's all good stuff. Right, I want to thank my guests. You know who you are, and good friends of the Pat Show, and are always welcome on the show. Just to let everyone else know, in case there's any of you are unfamiliar, our shows go out every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday at 8 o'clock, so you get used to it. Yeah. Please subscribe to the channel. I want to thank everyone in the chat channel. Not too many on a Tuesday night, but I'm sure we'll have a lot more views on playback. You know, usually get us into the many hundreds, right? So people will come and watch us. Then, understand it's Tuesday, it's bonfire night as well in the UK. So people are going around blowing up things, right?
Just a quick one, Adrian. Brad, you need to write a cup winning song. That's what you need to do.
You know what, Phil? I've said this from day one, where I started sort of talking about my channel. It's all basically, there's no football in it. I wanted to keep it separate from football totally, but I have said that I will write a cup final song if we get to a cup final. In fact, I'm actually thinking about writing one maybe after the Christmas song and just have it under wraps, just ready to go.
Yeah. 3 days. Come on.
And I will finish by saying, like to you guys out there and those watching on playback, we pride ourselves in Spurs Diehards TTID. We're a discerning, fact-based Spurs group, right? We try to bring you content, fact-based content all the time. I'll always try and bring you facts, So it makes things interesting, keep you well informed on everything I can find that Spurs related that I think will be of interest to you. So with that, I'm going to thank you all again. Thank the guests. Thank you in the chat again. And I'm going to play you out with this.
Come on.